Good morning, Year 5. Welcome to our second day of home learning, and we are continuing with the book The Viewer. So yesterday we were introduced to the main character. Who can remember that main character's name? Tristan. Okay, so Tristan, we learnt a bit about him. We learned that he was really curious and that he was just really interested in finding out what was happening, what was going on, how things work. Okay, we also found something else out about Tristan. Where was Tristan's favourite place? Can you remember? Right at the end of the piece of text we looked at yesterday. Have a think. Have a look at that. Where is it? Okay, so the city dump. Now, that might seem like a strange place to have as your favourite place in the world, the dump where everyone chucks their rubbish. But to Tristan, that's really important, and we're going to think about that more as we move through the story. Now, here's a picture of Tristan at the city dump. Okay, so why do you think that might interest Tristan? What do we know about Tristan's character that means that this might interest him? Have a think about that. So today we're going to look at how we can build up descriptions of a setting. And the city dump is a fantastic setting for us to be describing. There are loads and loads of interesting objects within this picture or this illustration that will allow you to describe the setting really clearly. And we're going to build up in a different way so that we can do that. Now, the first thing I want you to do is think about actually what can you see at the dump. I'd like you to create a bit of a mind map, and I want you to just add nouns. So it might be that you could see a clock, factories, only nouns. Remember, nouns are those words that we use. They are the names of things, objects, places, people. Okay, so what is it that you can see in this image? Okay, so you might see that clock, you might see that satellite dish, a cannon. There are hundreds of things in this image that you could pull out and put around your mind map. So I want lots of things labelled around, okay? I've got 6 here, but you'll have loads more than 6. Just fill that around. So you need to pause the video when I put it back onto the picture and create your mind map just using nouns, please. Okay, so now you've got a mind map full of nouns, okay, I want you to think about how we can develop those. So there are my nouns. There's some of the things that I could pull out. Now, what's an expanded noun phrase? How could we use an expanded noun phrase to develop our ideas? So an expanded noun phrase, okay, they're used to enrich your writing, to add extra information, which builds a clear picture within the reader's mind. So if I just said a clock, now there are thousands of different types of clock. We need to add detail, extra information, so that we can describe exactly what the clock in the city dump looks like. Okay, and we're going to use adjectives to do that. Now there's something else that we're going to need to use to make it even clearer, and that's a preposition. Now there's a big clue in here as to what a preposition is. And yeah, you got it. It is linked to the position of the noun. So it tells us where or when something is in relation to something else. So the house was on the hill beside a tree. So the 2 prepositions in there are on, it's telling us it's on the hill, and then beside, because it's beside the tree. Now, going back to the city dump, you're going to have to really clearly describe where these things are. I want you to imagine that if someone closed their eyes, they would still be able to pick out some of the key objects within this diagram or within this image from your description. So you might say, talk about the car, and if you're going to use the car, the preposition may be that it was on top of the clock. Okay, it may be beside the satellite dish. Okay, below the propeller. So you need to think about how you're going to describe those key things. So let's just take us through an example. So if we start with our noun, the noun in this one is the ship. Okay, so a ship. We've added a pirate ship. So we've added another noun to give us more detail. Then we've added some adjectives. An enormous menacing pirate ship. And finally, an enormous menacing pirate ship on the still calm ocean. So we've added description to add information, and then we've added position. Where is the pirate ship? And that's the process that you're going to go through today with your nouns that you've pulled out onto your mind map. So here are some examples of prepositions that you might want to use. Okay, and here are the nouns that you had originally, and the next activity I want you to do is to add some adjectives and then a preposition to each of the nouns. If you've got loads and loads of nouns around your word, maybe just choose your best 5 or 6 that you want to add adjectives and then the preposition to tell us where they are. I then want you to take those things from your mind map, okay, and create a paragraph about the city dump. So a descriptive paragraph that if I had never seen that picture of the city dump, I would know, I'd have a really clear picture in my mind, in my head, from reading your description. And I'm going to leave the video on this image of the dump. You can obviously flick back through the video if you need to go back to those prepositions or the examples of the expanded noun phrases, but I want to see a really detailed description of this setting. I look forward to seeing your work on Class Dojo later. Have a lovely day, and I will see you at 11:30 for our Zoom call. There you will.